Hello and welcome to the mill. I am your host Dusty Crane, and this week I have a few digital updates for you and let's talk a little bit about Codename Sand, what Jamey's been showing off on Instagram lately, shall we? So yeah, as I mentioned, a couple of digital updates. Scythe Digital Edition is actually showing up in iOS app stores, just not everywhere. Now, if you are in the US App Store like me, you're still waiting. But if you are in the UK App Store or connected to the Canada App Store, Scythe Digital iOS is already available for you. Now, the prices, I went ahead and looked those up. So in the UK App Store, it looks like it's going for £8.99, and in the Canadian App Store, it is $11.99 Canadian. And so, like, I kind of goofed with the conversion a little bit. And so I'm gonna guess when it does eventually show up in the US App Store, it's probably gonna be a $10 app. $9.99 is my guess. And I think that is a tremendous bargain in terms of an iOS app that runs pretty much identical to its full PC counterpart. At least that is the impression, or what I took away from the test flight that happened earlier this year. Let's go ahead and get to the meat of this episode, shall we? Jamey's been teasing images of Codename Sand on his Instagram for a week or so now, and the first image he presented is right here. I'll go ahead and toss it up there. Now, it's a very heavily obscured, tessellated image, and when I look at it, it isn't hard for me to get tapestry vibes from it. It's that same kind of color palette, right? And as I look at it, you know, I was trying to, it looked like a tower rising up through the middle of the image, and maybe some things leaning in, like maybe it's I don't know, like a distorted lens kind of thing where you can see kind of like buildings leaning in towards this central tower. And then I looked, and a little bit further down here, it looks like maybe a fox or a small animal at the base of this tower. And then I'm like, maybe it's not a tower at all. Then I started to think, kind of looks like a gladiator, and maybe he's looking down towards the ground. And what if that is enemies closing in on either side? But who knows at this point? It's so heavily obscured. I guess when I was looking at the color palettes, right, I was kind of comparing that, and I goes, okay, so if that's a gladiator in the middle and he's kind of got a like gold armor on or whatever, and he's focused or he's resolved or something like that, maybe you look at the left hand side there of the image and it's almost red, like red dirt or red rock, and it's leading in, and then on the right hand side it is almost like rock or stone and light sand, and that's kind of leaning in. And so I wondered, well, if this is a gladiator, maybe, you know, like I said, that maybe this is people, you know, he sees the world closing in on him or enemies closing in on him. I don't know what all that, this is all speculation. This could very well be another bird game for all I know. I mean, these could be just birds standing upright looking straight at the game. I don't know. But that was the first image Jamey shared. Do you guys have any guesses on what that is? I think the black speckle stuff in the sky is probably just the logo of the game, and then probably the white at the base of the whatever we're looking at there is probably like the artist or the designer, because we know that this is not a Jamey design. So that should be interesting. But if you look, so we're talking about what do you think this is and what does this look like? And so you read some of the comments on the Instagram, and I got kind of a chuckle out of it, because someone goes, I see this, or I see that. And someone goes, I see my wallet getting lighter. And I goes, that's the right answer, no question about it. So let's go ahead and take a look at the second image. Now this one right here, a lot more clear as to what that is, right? I mean, it's right out there. There's no obscurity at all. It's a very green kind of picture here, and we can see that there's a camel, and so that kind of plays into the sand theme, and you know, maybe it's set in a desert, and this looks like a very well-to-do area in terms of you can see the flags and you know, the buildings that rise up. Now, I wondered if maybe, because it doesn't look like, not very, if it was card art, I don't think it would be very dynamic. It'd be kind of, I mean, I guess it could be telling a story, and that, like, you know, maybe this is an opportunity to sell, or the streets are empty or something like that. But I wondered, because it's the whole image is mostly green, I wondered if maybe this was like art from a mat or something like that, and maybe this is a green player mat, and maybe there's a red player mat and yellow, or the colors that you typically, it just seems like it's all one color. And so that's kind of what I was thinking. I wonder if this was a part of a player mat or something, but the art is really pretty. And I wonder, we don't know who the artist is on this yet, but maybe if you are familiar with board game artists and maybe you've seen some kind of imagery that looks like this, maybe we can identify who the artist is. Now, I did talk to Jamey, and he did mention that he likes working with world builders. So maybe if there's an artist you know of, like I think you would consider Mr. Cuddington a world builder. They did the art for Charterstone, but they're also building a much larger universe for the Tidal Blades series. So, and then you would consider Jakob, obviously, for Scythe, the world of 1920 plus. You know, now he's doing Iron Harvest, and he's talked to filmmakers, stuff like that, where you're building out a world, and it's not just Scythe, and it's not just Iron Harvest. You know, it's, you know, there's puzzles and novels and stuff like that. So I wondered, are there any world builders that you know of that maybe this style looks familiar? Maybe we can discover something. But I have a special treat, because I reached out to Jamey and I said, do you have anything that I could tease on the mill? Something you haven't shared, something that I can give to you guys that hasn't been shown before, and did he ever come through? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to slide right off the screen entirely. I'm going to put these pictures right up there big so you can see them really nice, and let's just go get to it. Now, he sent me 3 pictures, which is exciting, but they might technically be one picture. You'll see what I mean here in just a minute. So here we go. So this first one is definitely, it's a line drawing of a Minotaur, right? A not too happy looking Minotaur at that. It's super cool art. I mean, I like the line drawing. It's this is the kind of stuff that's always interested me about comic books and stuff like that, when you see the works in progress. So let's go ahead and check out the next image. Obviously it's all colored. Got a gray tone there. I don't know if that's smoke or if it's just like for artistic, you know, expression, but it's definitely a nice progression from the last image. You can see he's still not happy. Minotaur is a pretty wicked looking axe now. You couldn't really make out what he had in the line drawing. And you see some red smoke drifting from its eyes. And now let's go ahead and check out the next image here. All right, one more time. It's the same Minotaur. You can see we have, now he's wearing shackles that are broken. He has a massive warhammer, some piercings, and some white smoke drifting from his eyes. Now these look pulled straight from Dungeons & Dragons or Magic the Gathering, but despite all that, Jamey has said, even though they look combat-y, his words, not mine, but admittedly a way I would describe something, even though they look combat-y, there's not actual combat in Codename Sand. So a little bit of game detail there too. I thought that was really cool. This artwork is incredible. I love the style of it. I wonder what this tells us about the game. Now, naturally, the pictures had file names, and I'm not going to get into those because I don't know if that was meant to be revealed or not. But so how with the different art style, I almost wondered if that wasn't indicative of like an upgrade. Like, is the gray where we see, you know, just this kind of base Minotaur, and then later we see, you know, this Minotaur has got, you know, shackles or whatever, but they're broken, so they're almost acting like armor. And he's got like a massive weapon. You know, what does that mean? Is this an upgrade, or is it just like, hey, here was the first version of the art, here's the second version of the art? And so, yeah, I thought, thank you very much, Jamey, for sharing that with us. I could not be more excited for Codename Sand. What do you make of these images, I wonder? Drop something in the comments. Let me know what you're thinking. What does this mean to you? All right, so now what some of you have been waiting for. Last week I mentioned I had some keys for Viticulture Digital, or Viticulture Essential Edition Digital on iOS and Android. I have 1 iOS key and 2 Android keys, and so I just said, hey, post some questions for Ryan Lopez in the comments so that I can ask him some questions. Hopefully next week that will be that episode, and we'll get into all the questions you guys have presented. So thank you very much for that. So let's go ahead, and what I did is same thing I did last time, tossed all the names in a spreadsheet, ran random.org, and let the computer decide who is going to win these keys. So again, if you don't like it, if you're bummed out you didn't win, it's the computer's fault. It's not mine. I wanted you to win. You in particular. I was rooting for you. But let's go ahead and talk about who those winners are. So for the iOS key, the winner was Jason Tupek. And now the Android, the two winners are Eric Furston and Richard Hamilton. Congratulations to you three. Please, Jason, Eric, and Richard, reach out to me at sm.millshow@gmail.com, and I'll toss that up on the screen, sm.millshow@gmail.com, and we'll go ahead and get those keys to you. So that's it for the mill this week. Thank you for watching. Take care of yourselves and each other. Happy Father's Day, dads. You know, to my dad and to my father-in-law, we miss you all the time, but most especially on a holiday like this. So love your loved ones, love yourself. Take care. Thanks for watching. Bye.